Hi there, welcome back to Creatively Crafted Life. My name is Melanie and welcome to another Smash or Stash video. A little heads up, these are not the projects that I made this month, but I'm going to give you a little bit of a heads up before I get into the project or the projects that I completed for this month's Smash, which was all about loose cardstock or loose papers. This is a collaboration with Beth from Bourbon Creek Crafts. It is one where you click on a playlist and you can see everybody else who's participating. The playlist is in the description below. And as I mentioned, it's loose cardstock. I wasn't sure how I wanted to approach it, and then I remembered that I had a bunch of these cards from the SET samplers, so you know I've been on a kick to use them up. This subscription no longer exists, so why not actually get this finished, right? So I had a bunch of cards, and what I've been doing with these is I've been creating these little life sampler albums where basically it gives random photos throughout my life of friends, family, places I've been, myself, based on the theme of the card. Right, so I will take the card and then try to find a photo to match and then embellish it, okay? So I'm going to post a flip through at the end of this video, kind of a bonus section, showing you these two albums so you get a feel of what they look like. If you're interested, if you're not, no worries. It'll be at the end and you could just skip over it. What I did do is I pulled out my Paige Evans loose random cardstock from all different collections, just because when I saw all of these cards together with the color, that was what I immediately thought of. And I thought, well, maybe that's cheating a little bit using all Paige Evans because it's supposed to be loose. And I'm like, no, it's loose. It's not in a pattern. It's not in a collection form. I just happen to have it sorted by her designs. So I'm going with it. The albums that I'm using are not really technically albums. They're these cardboard binders from Tonic Studio. If you were a member or a subscriber to their kit, they sent these out. I don't know if they still do, but I don't store my dies this way, so I just thought, why not repurpose them? And I purposely add embellishments to cover the title, and I like that they're not massive. And I like the size. I think they're roughly 6.5 by 8.5, which is not the best for most efficient use of papers. Like, it would be great if it was 6 by 8, and then I could get two pages out of each, but it is what it is. And, you know, I have so much stuff, so it's not a big deal. Now, I am going to have leftover scraps, which I will use for decorating the opposite page. So if you look at this, I've got the card on this side, and then this side would be some sort of complement to this. I do try to use just the single cardstock and use the other side if it's double-sided to cut back on bulk, and then use some other paper to kind of tie everything together. It's a little bit patchworky, and I'm okay with that. I like that. So I thought I would flip through my paper choices first, and then we'll jump into how I took those and turned them into a final project. So again, I just pulled out all her kind of multicolored papers and paired them up with the card. You're going to see a little bit from all of her collections, like this is Blooming Wild. This one here I think was from Turn the Page. This is Scenic Route. Quite a bit from that, just because the colors went so well. This is from Whimsical, another whimsical one. I just think it turned out so well. Might as well go for it. Blooming Wild. This one is Wonders, and more Wonders. And then there were some Christmas themed cards, so I did want to use Christmas themed paper because y'all know I have a ton of that. So I did try to find ones that kind of had like a florally look to them. So this was Photoplay Boughs of Holly from It's a Wonderful Christmas. So I think that, not the same colors as the rest of the book, but still kind of has a look and feel. And I'm pretty sure this was from a Michael's paper pad. It was either Michael's or Joann's, but I'm pretty sure it was a Michael's. Well, it might have been Hobby Lobby. One of them. Anyway, so that's going to be the first album. There's about 16 pages in here based on the first album I did, I think I can fit about 19, provided I don't go crazy on the embellishments. Now, this card and paper selection was right at the end. I was running out of pattern paper, multicolored pattern paper, and I didn't really have anything that worked with this blue, but I think this works, and I think it's still fun. I could, I guess, maybe use this side. I don't know. I think I like this better. So again, Blooming Wild, we've got some. This one is from Blooming Wild as well. I think this is Turn the Page. Wonders. So you get the idea, right? I'm really excited about working on this. Now, no guarantees the photos are going to be printed when this is all done. I do go and select photos from any time period, really, although predominantly most of them have been probably in the last, 10 years or so. But maybe I'll make it a challenge for me to go back to some older stuff and pull. But really, it's more about the inspiration of the card that drives the photo selection than necessarily a time period or, specific types of photos. It just goes so perfect, right? Like, look at the matching. Didn't even have to think hard. Here's some of those other Christmas lines. This is, I think, from the same paper pad as the other one. And this one is actually Simple Stories Mix and Mingle. I like the colors. I think it kind of has a page vibe as far as that goes. But really, I chose this one because the sentiment says Christmas isn't a season, it's a feeling. And this is giving you all different icons related to the season that I think kind of play off that sentiment. So that is where I am starting. And lucky you, right now, I'm going to show you what I came up with. Okay, so I did finish. I think I used 40, I cut into, let me clarify this. I cut into 40 sheets of 12 by 12 cardstock. So I used 4 12 by 12 white sheets. I used 32 Page Evans sheets. And I cut into 4 holiday Christmas papers, but I do have a ton of scraps. So I think the next Smash Your Stash might be a scrappy video, so these might be surfacing, then, although to be honest, it's a little fresh, so not sure if I'd be too inspired to use these right away. Okay, but let me show you how the books turned out. I think they turned out super cute. Okay, so let's take a look at the books. Like I mentioned before, there's no photos yet, and I'm not sure how I want to approach this because there's no more SCT sampler coming out. I'm not going to get as many cards. I think SCT may still include the cards in like their classes and stuff, but in any event, I'm not going to get a ton of cards, right? So I'm just wondering if maybe I should leave some open for future years. I don't know. Or maybe I should just finish them. You'll notice that I left a space for a 4x4 photo, and I did that intentionally. I just thought it would fit better space-wise, and also that gives me the option. It doesn't matter if it's a horizontal or vertical oriented photo. I would just crop it to 4x4 and be done with it. You can see I tried to coordinate the papers so that the back side matched or went somewhat with the other side, just as a, an attempt to make it look somewhat cohesive. And I used a lot of Page Evans embellishments, which makes sense. And I tried to embellish using like if I use any words that tied back into the theme of the card. So for instance, this was "Thank you for being the reason I smile," and then I put on here "heart full." So I think that kind of works. Sometimes they're more obvious, like magical versus magic, and other times, not so much. This does say Merry Christmas. I don't know how well it comes up on the camera. And both albums, like I said, I think I mentioned before, have 2 Christmas pages in them. And the front and back both have like a quote or something inspirational. And I realized I never put any enamel dots on there, so I'm going to have to finish those off here. Okay, and then volume 4. These were fun. I had made these embellishments out of scraps a long time ago, and I finally used them, so I was kind of thrilled about that. Sometimes I decorated this side. You notice that the first album I really didn't. This one I played off it a little bit more. I also used some labels here, which you'll see shortly, on this side to allow for more journaling. These were also handmade embellishments that I had stored a long time ago. I had done a Croptober kind of online event, and those were some of the things that we made in that event. Oh, and I missed a dot there. I'll have to fix that. So here's an example of where I've left a journaling spot. I just didn't like anything on this side, and I thought, well, why not just add it here? Totally works. And then I kind of got into a rhythm with that. When I overlap the photos or photo placement, I always try and leave it loose so that I can tuck a photo in. See how that goes. And I did try to pick embellishments that played off of the inspiration or the card inspiration. And like the last one, you know, some sort of quote or inspirational item. So that is it for Smash Your Stash this month. This is a collaboration, so be sure to check the playlist that's linked in the description below and see what everybody else did with their loose cardstock collection. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and until next time, happy crafting. Okay, now for the bonus content, the flip through of the two previous albums. I have done these, I think, on other videos, so you may have already seen these, but for those of you that are new, if you're interested, I just thought I would do a quick flip through of these ones. I decorated the inside and or the inside of the binders with just leftover scraps. And this was a jelly bean soup collection of cardstock that I used. But the embellishments are from everything. The title page, which isn't really a title page, I just used a quote. And then I did try to coordinate the left and the right as best as possible. Sometimes it's a little bit of a stretch, and other times I think it worked better. And it's kind of hodgepodgey, sampler styled, like I said. And I love that. I love the idea of that. I love that it's all over the place because it's just a sampling of my life. And I think that's okay. And I love that these are this size. I figure, you know, too, even, you know, when perhaps I get older and, you know, the big 12 by 12 books are too heavy, that this might be just fun to flip through and see, you know, old friends and family and myself doing different things throughout the course of my life. Not all of them are photos of people. Sometimes I'll throw in some scenic photos, like that beautiful tree that's all bloomed for spring, and see even a photo of myself as a baby. When I did the first one, I didn't know there was going to be a volume 2, so I did not add a volume 1 on here. I think I do still have these chipboard letters. I might be able to add that in. I don't know. I don't know if it's necessary. You know, if you go to print a book and you don't know there's going to be a volume 2, you wouldn't have necessarily have it on, right? Can be implied. This was a paper pad, I think from Park Lane, and it was very fruity, which is not normally something I scrapbook a ton of, like in my 12 by 12, but I think it kind of works. The colors all work, and you know, I tried to match up the more tropical ones with things like travel and stuff like that. Lots of just random photos. I think the biggest thing that would probably bother me about these books is that there's not a even representation of like all my family members. You know, it's just a sampling. It is what it is. Okay, so that is the flip through. I hope you enjoyed, and maybe you're inspired to do something like this yourself. I love them, and I think they're a great addition to all my other scrapbooking projects. And I would encourage you to think of doing something like this, even if you didn't have the cards. Maybe you could find some quotes and stuff like that that are inspiring, you know, that maybe reflect your values and thoughts. Could be fun. Anyways, thanks so much for hanging out with me, you guys. Be sure to check out the other collaborators, and until next time, happy crafting.